Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing some native history because of course I found something interesting, and it's actually always been interesting to me, but I don't know much about it considering I live here. And we are going to be talking about Chief Tuskaloosa today. Yes, we are. And the legend that he is and the legend that he created for himself. We are going to talk about DeSoto. We're going to talk about the Providences in Alabama and the different chiefs and tribes that were there. And so if you like that, stick around. I also put my makeup on at the same time while I'm telling the story. And I will put what I put on my face down below in the description box. So if that interests you guys, definitely hit that subscribe button. That would help me out so much. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and get this party started. It's going to be a good one. So, yeah. Okay, so first we're going to talk about DeSoto and how he got here and why he was here and all that fun stuff. Okay. The president of Cuba at the time had made him the governor, had made DeSoto like the governor of Cuba, and told him to go to North America and to establish a place for the Spanish and the Cubans to go, basically. So he's like, I'm going to give you an army of 600 to, they don't know exactly how many, 600 to 1,000 of these Spaniards came over here. And they also had 200 horses. So when we talk about DeSoto coming over here, it's not like he just came over here on a boat with a few dudes. Like, he came over here with a fleet. Okay, like a fleet of people and a fleet of horses. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind as we're going through this story. Okay, they actually didn't get here until 1539, and that's when they landed in Florida. And of course, last week, or I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the caverns and things like that. Well, he was making his way through, now modern day Alabama. And what he would do is, in order to progress to the next village or whatever, he would take a prisoner from the Indian, wherever he went, whatever village he stayed at. He would take somebody to either be an interpreter for him, or he would take them so they could carry his supplies. Yeah, he needed like some bearers and shit like that, And so he kind of goes on that way, even though they've offered him land and they've offered him all these things. And so he starts to gather a reputation, we'll just say that, amongst the natives. Okay, the more farther in he goes into Alabama, the more the Indians are hearing about what this DeSoto guy is doing. He's basically kidnapping chiefs from every single village and giving it back and taking another one and giving it back and taking another one as he makes his way across Alabama. And of course, he's got all these people, 1,000 dudes and 200 horses. That's a bit intimidating, I mean, that's just me. That would intimidate me. As we have DeSoto and all of his Spanish men going across the state of Alabama, like I say, he's needing natives to help interpret. Okay, now let's talk about the geography of what Okay, so natives have providences, and within those providences were villages. And each village had a chief, and then the providence had a big chief over the whole entire thing. And so, of course, Chief Tuskaloosa was the chief of the area. It's the Tuskaloosa area. I mean, it was named after him. It's located along, of course, the Alabama River and things of that nature. But when they reach Alabama, they first come to the Coosa Valley, and they take that chief hostage, basically. And I'm here to tell you that once it's heard, now this chief that they took was from a town called Tbilisi, okay, and Tbilisi was, I think that's what Childersburg is now. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to go back and look that up. Once they reached Tbilisi, and they realized that a lot of them had fled, had just left. Like, the natives, I mean, you know, they talk. They talk. Word of mouth, word of mouth. We've talked about this before. Word of mouth. And, you know, they talk. And so they were like, yeah, we're not doing this. And they dipped out. And so he has this chief, and this chief, he ends up taking him to, he tries to take the chief of Tuskaloosa, but he asks him to show obedience by giving the Spaniards deerskin, food, bears, and women. And so DeSoto released the paramount chief, Coosa, which is the chief of the Coosa tribe. He released him because he agreed that he would give him a bunch of women, a bunch of randos to carry all of his stuff, since he's that freaking lazy. And, you know, he agreed to it because he just wanted to get away from this dude. He just wanted to get away from DeSoto, you know. He didn't understand why DeSoto couldn't just take the gifts that he was offered, you know, and then and just kind of maybe enjoy and kind of take in the culture of the area. But yeah, that's just not the way it happens. Of course, when DeSoto gets all this stuff, he drops the chief off at another town. Because like I say, he takes the chief from one town and he takes it to another. He'll travel for like a day. And so this Coosa chief is like, listen, I'm super far away from my folks. What are you doing? And so the next province was Tuskaloosa. Yeah, it was Tuskaloosa. And so that's when they started making their way there. Now, Chief Tuskaloosa, smart dude. Remember, this guy's like 7 foot tall, very muscular, very stoic, very intimidating. Okay, he has a plan. Yeah, he sends some spies to go and see just exactly what the Spaniards are doing and what they have. Now, the Spanish left Tuskaloosa on October 5th, okay, and they were making their way they went through a bunch of different villages. They went through a whole bunch of different villages, and of course he had that chief with him, and, you know, he was taking women, he was making people carry his stuff like he's some kind of freaking king or something, you know. In his mind, he is, of course. That's what he's thinking in his mind. We all know that's not the truth, you know what I mean? It's just not. And so, but anyway, they leave and they go to Humati, which is actually Shoal Creek. October 8th, they came upon a newly built settlement, like brand new settlement. Okay, think about this. These natives have been here for a long time, right? Yes, they have. They have been here for a long time. Why did they build this new settlement? Because the chief had a plan, my friends. Oh, yes, the chief has a plan. The chief Tuskaloosa has a plan, okay? And so anyway, the Spanish end up having to cross the Coosa River, you know, like, of course. You're taking their women and you're taking people just to carry your stuff around while you explore, oh, goodness gracious, make it make sense. But here we are. Locals like, no. Sorry, buddy. Nope. So, October 8th, they come upon Wetumpka and they cross the Tallapoosa River. By the end of the day, they were only a few miles from Tuskaloosa's village, which was Attahachie. Okay? Now, DeSoto sends a messenger to tell the chief, yo, what's up? We're here. You know, what's the haps? What you doing? You know, when do you want to chat? And so the chief's like, hey, I'm down to chat whenever y'all feel like it, you know, totally down. Come over here whenever you feel like it, pretty much. And so the next day, DeSoto gets the message, and so he sends another messenger, and this messenger will come up again later, saying that they were on the way. So he's like, all right, cool. Headed that way, buddy. Headed your way. And so anyway, they come upon this town. Now, this town is also a new town. Okay. very much so new. And how they don't how they don't figure it out, I don't know. But that's not up to me to decide. Anyway. So anyway, here we are. So they arrive at Chief Tuscaloosa's town. Now he's the chief of the whole entire province. So he's the head chief in this town. Okay. This is supposedly where he is living and all this stuff. But everything is brand new. It's very, very fortified. Yeah, very, very fortified. So DeSoto and all of his buddies decide to go to the town, and they enter and they see this big place. It's very open, but it's also enclosed in, and in the middle is this very large mound, which is what we have here in Alabama. We still have a lot of them. And on top of that was like a palisade where the chief was sitting. Chief Tuscaloosa was sitting on a stack of pillows. Okay. Now, he was like I say, he was very tall, very intimidating. And when DeSoto showed up, let me tell you how Chief Tuscaloosa he did not get up. Like, DeSoto gets off his horse and is like, hey, what's up with this? Like, you're not going to get up for me? So I guess because of that, some of his buddies start going around and they start jousting each other. The Spaniards do. This is a way of them to intimidate the natives by jousting with each other. Okay. And the chief, unfazed. Stoic is all hell, and I'm here for it. I mean, you can just imagine Chief Tuscaloosa up there dressed in his headdress. It's all this mantle of beautiful feathers, and he does not rise to greet this man. He gives zero fucks about them jousting or doing whatever they're doing. So the natives are like, hey, time to eat, So they feed the Spaniards. Now, like I was telling y'all, the Spaniards were kind of on edge. I guess they weren't too stupid. They were kind of on their toes. But as the night went on, and all of the natives danced for the Spaniards, they fed them, they conversed with them, had conversation, all this stuff. And while they were dancing, DeSoto decided that he wanted some porters and women from the chief. Now, the chief, Tuscaloosa, says, I am used to being served. I don't serve. Yeah. How do you think DeSoto felt about all of that shit when he said that right there? So when DeSoto says all that, old dude's like, no, I'm taking you hostage. Like, because Tuscaloosa shuts it down. He's like, no, I'm not giving you women and I'm not giving you bears. I am not doing that. And when he said that he doesn't serve others, that infuriated DeSoto, and he took Chief Tuscaloosa hostage. Okay, then he began making plans to leave for the next day, but the chief was like, hey, man, I'm tired. We just got finished partying, We all just danced and ate, and let's stay here for a few days and rest, you know what I mean? And kind of gather our bearings or whatnot. And he said that he wasn't too happy about it, but he was like, if you take me to a town called Malaba, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Malabia? It's basically Mobile. Malabia, okay? Moblia. Moblia. Y'all got it, okay? DeSoto gave, so because Chief Tuscaloosa said, okay, if you take me to this village, then I will give you your women, I will give you some women, give you some bears, whatnot, And so, of course, this is like music to DeSoto's ears. He's so happy, he gives the Chief Tuscaloosa, a red cloak and matching red boots to go with it. Like that chief even wanted that shit anyway. So they leave Attatachi the next day, and they arrive at the village Piachi, something like that. I know I'm not saying these names right. I'm so sorry. But this is where they began. This is where the Spaniards began to realize that the Indians weren't being very nice to them anymore. Okay, because like I say, word spreads like wildfire. And from what they've heard, this guy is taking people as slaves and making them be interpreters, making them be their women, you know, and all this other kind of stuff, and just blah, 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 boo. You know what I mean? It's just not good. It's just not good. So when DeSoto takes Tuscaloosa hostage, they make plans to leave for the next day, and Tuscaloosa wasn't too happy because he said he could get them bearers and women in Maleba. Okay. And this is where he planned on leading them to, was to Maleba. So they left the town of Attachie, okay? They leave Attachie and they make it to Piachi, okay? Now, this is where they start to realize that the native people weren't too happy that they were there, because they asked the people in this village, they demanded canoes from these people in this village, and they were like, we don't have any. Sorry, broski, we don't have any for you. So I don't know what to tell you. So then they had to wait 2 days to build their own canoes so they could cross the Coosa River, right? And they still got Chief Tuscaloosa with them, all right? So after crossing, 2 of the Spaniards were unaccounted for. Like, does he really do a head count after every time they cross a river? I mean, that's like 600 or 1,000 men. That's a lot of men, you know? But anyway, 2 were unaccounted for, and their absence was very much so noticed, and people weren't too happy about it. And so DeSoto demands Tuscaloosa to produce his men, and he says, I will once we get to Maleba. Okay, I will definitely do that when we get to the town that we're going to, the town that I can't say. When we get there, your men will be there, right? Right. All right, cool, he says. So they take the canoes and they go and they make it to Maleba or whatever. Now, this is also a newly built place, okay? But this place had young men, very young men, very able-bodied young men, may I say. Very little women. No children. This place was heavily fortified. You thought the last place was fortified? This one, they had places where they were practicing, you know, with bows and stuff like that. They had there was a huge pavilion. They had cleared all the brush out from around the pavilion, you know. And so when they arrived, they noticed how heavily fortified it was. They were like, this is odd. Why is this such a stronghold, and why is it so new, you know? And so, like I say, they had crossbow ranges, and then there was an old warrior in the field who was like teaching other natives like some kind of military exercise of whatever it is they did back then. And so I guess that was kind of their way of intimidating the Spaniards, since they were jousting in the other town. In this town, the natives were like, okay, we're going to show you what we do. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel you. I love this story. It's great. The chief, they get into the town, and the chief comes out to meet him of the town, because remember, Chief Tuscaloosa is a chief. Yeah, he's chief of the whole province of Tuscaloosa. But there's little towns within, and they all have their chiefs. And so when they go there and they try to talk to the chief that's there, he's really high up in the pavilion, you know, because we have the mounds, the Indian mounds here. And so he approached, and then the chief comes out to meet him, brings him 3 robes of marten skin as gifts. Okay, it's like a marten or something like that. I'm not really sure what kind of animal that is, but they bring those out as gifts. Okay, so they dismounted. The bearers were setting their things down while the Malayans were dancing and singing to the Spanish, and which was easing their fears. You know, it was basically like a big welcome party. Like, hey, welcome. You know, here's some gifts for you. We're gonna sing and dance for you. We're gonna do all these things to make you feel totally at ease and chill, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Mm-hmm. All of this was just a freaking distraction. Okay. It was just a distraction to get the Spaniards focused on anything else other than what they were planning to do. Because, oh, yes, they had a plan. They sure do have a plan. And so, anyway, Chief Tuskaloosa says he's super tired. He's like, I want to rest here in Malibu, for a few days. DeSoto refused, so the chief asked to confer with some of his folks in a house on the plaza. So Chief Tuskaloosa goes into this house. Now, DeSoto sent Juan Ortiz in to go get Tuskaloosa. They refused him entrance. Told them to leave or they would be forced to leave. DeSoto went into the house to grab him, to get Chief Tuskaloosa. And it was full of armed warriors. These, imagine, like 6 to 7 foot tall natives that are literally built just to be a warrior. And they're standing all around you in this house. Like, it's an ambush. He set up an ambush on this man, on DeSoto, okay? I can't help but like it, like, a lot, I'm sorry. But anyway, and so this is where he messed up. DeSoto asked Chief Malibu to demand the porters that were promised by Chief Tuskaloosa. Now, Chief Tuskaloosa wasn't going to give him anything. Come on. We all know this. And so the Spaniard, and then so he refused. The chief refused. And he was grabbed by a Spaniard and he cut off the chief's arm. Not Tuskaloosa, but the chief of the town that they just arrived in. They cut his arm off. Yeah. Just because he wouldn't do what they said. So, you know what happened after that? They opened up a can of whoop ass, is what they did. They went completely and utterly insane, and I don't blame them whatsoever, not even a little bit. They just went after their chief. To be the chief, why would you even do that? And so the Spanish, they start running for the gate because, all the natives covered. And I'm telling you, as they're running towards the gate, there's natives coming out of these houses in the town. They're coming out of everywhere, attacking from everywhere. DeSoto and his men don't have their horses. Their horses are outside of town. I think DeSoto rode in, of course, on a horse. But there's only 1 or 2 horses there. The rest of their horses, they're 200 some odd, are outside of the gates. Okay? So now they're fighting like hell to get to the other side of the fence so they can get to their horses. Okay? And during all the commotion, with the Spaniards running to go get their horses, the Indians steal all their provisions and, all the things that the bearers were carrying, basically all their food and everything and equipment, and ganked it and kept it, okay? And so, finally, the Spanish, after fighting tooth and nail to get out of the city, they make it out and they make it to their horses, okay? Now, this battle ensues for about 8 to 9 hours of them trying to get through this fortified wall that's in the city because DeSoto is angry, so very angry that this has happened to him, that he's been fooled in this way. Okay. So they make it outside and they plan a counterattack. They're trying to get through the walls of this place, right? Well, they finally crack the walls after 8 to 9 hours. And they go in and they set fire to the entire town. Now, the town was so fortified that the natives didn't think for a second because it was also on the edge of a cliff. So they couldn't, if they were trapped, they could not get out. And this is sad because nobody survived in this. Chief Tuskaloosa died in this fire. His son died in this fire as well, who was just as big as him, just a little bit slender and younger. And the only ones that were left were 3 male natives and then the women. And so then the male natives tried to shoot arrows at the Spaniards when they lined the women up in front of the Indians. I guess they were using the Indians weren't using their women as shields. I think the Spanish were using the Indian women as shields away from these three guys. The only three guys left in the whole entire thing. And so two of them got shot, of course, because this is bows and arrows against guns. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. It's not going to work. Now, like I say, they were shooting. They shot two, so that leaves one, and he ran off in the woods and hung himself from a tree. Yes, he did. I know, it's awful. He would rather commit suicide than be killed by the Spanish, which I totally 100% feel like. I feel that on every level, literally. I don't think I would do that, but hey, it's just me. And so that is the battle. Sorry, I suck at doing this and trying to do my lip liner at the same time and trying to talk to y'all. I suck at it. And so the only one that was left went and hung himself. Even though DeSoto had won that battle, I'm here to tell y'all that he did not really do that well, like, after that. He never recovered from that. He lost a lot of men. A lot of men. I'm sure he also did the same, lost some horses as well. And then he lost his supplies, because the natives took them. They had them, so all their provisions got burned up in the fire. So, like I say, the natives made a dent. Old Chief Tuskaloosa was pretty smart. He made a dent in that, and that is that's awesome. I love that he planned this surprise attack because he knew what they were capable of. He always knew what these people were capable of ever since they got there and they started hearing all these different things. Now, like I say, unfortunately, the chief passes away in the fight along with his son. But I will tell you guys a fun story. Actually, it's not. It's not very fun, not for some folks, because this does still happen. So, all right. So here in town is the Black Warrior River. Obviously, I live in Tuskaloosa. It's named after Chief Tuskaloosa. The Black Warrior River. Black Warrior is actually Tuskaloosa. It means Black Warrior. So they named the river after him. Okay. This is what he said, quote unquote. This is when he first got taken hostage by the Spanish, okay? He told them, quote unquote, "Cursed be the white man with his evil ways. Cursed be the white man who kills my people. The waters of our land will avenge the death of our warriors. The water will consume our enemies. As long as the river flows, it will take the white man as a sacrifice." Okay, now, as somebody that lives here, and I have been on the Black Warrior many, 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 many times, many, many creeks. I'm a nature bug. I'm here to tell you that is very true. The Black Warrior does take people, at least 2 or 3 people a year. And now, there is a way to find the body if you have suspected that somebody has fallen into the river and that they've drowned, but you can't find the body. Get a white shirt that belonged to that person, and they would drop it into the river above the point where they think the person would have fallen in, and that white shirt will float down the river until it finds the body. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've been down to this little spot I go to, and I've seen at least 3 white t-shirts down there. Okay, and I know one person almost drowned down there, and then another one did drown this past summer. So, and that creek is attached to the Black Warrior. So it goes into, in my honest opinion, it's a real thing. It's real. It's very much so real. Chief Tuskaloosa, that was a curse that he put on the Black Warrior River, and people still fall into it to this day. Yes, downtown is right there, and there's the bars and all that stuff. But that, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to get to the river. Well, now it's not so much. Now they have the river walk, people want to get drunk and they'll just walk right off the dock and not even know it, you know? And it's a river that has, like, they built a series of dams on it. They pushed and used coal. You know what I mean? That's what they did. They did it for. They put dams on it so that they can move the coal. But anyway, that's the legend of the Black Warrior River in Chief Tuscaloosa, and I thought it was super interesting. I have always heard about the river being cursed. I've never worried about it because when I'm down there, I feel like I'm at home. You know, those are my peeps. So it's my happy place actually going out into nature, especially on the Black Warrior or the creek I go to or anything like that. I do leave offerings and things like that for him when I do go down to my little spot. So I just wanted to tell you guys about that today, give you a little native history on Chief Tuscaloosa and the Black Warrior River and the battle that he went through. The only thing was they made two mistakes. They underestimated the Spaniards when they got on their horses. And then they didn't realize that they actually accidentally barricaded themselves into the village. That's the saddest part to me, because it's located on a cliff. Like, they thought they had the advantage, but even though DeSoto won the war, he was incredibly put behind. He never recovered from that war that happened here in Alabama. So that's just some Alabama history for you guys. And I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you guys have a wonderful Thursday. Thank you for being here with me. I really appreciate it. And I hope you found this story as interesting as I did. I really, really like it a lot. I thought it was pretty awesome. I knew some things, but I didn't know how entailed the battle was. And I got to learn about the land and the providences and the chiefs within chiefs within chiefs. You know, they all communicated together, and you know, it worked for them until the Europeans came. So, but anyway, here we are today in the USA, I'm still walking the red road. I don't care; they can't keep me down. Especially considering the last residential school closed in 1996. That was not that long ago, and that's actually pretty sad. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you all learned a little something too. And if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button. And I love you guys. If nobody's told you that today, I love you, and have a wonderful weekend.